I want to show you something nobody puts in a PCS brief. Your BAH number, and right next to it, the exact neighborhoods it unlocks in Virginia Beach right now. Not projections, not averages, real streets, real homes that are actively listed this month. Because here's what I see every single PCS season. A family gets their orders, they look up their BAH, and they feel okay about the number. Then they start searching homes online and they panic. Because Virginia Beach looks expensive when you don't know where to look, and it looks completely manageable when you do. Today, I'm breaking down exactly what your BAH buys by rank using live MLS data from right now in 2026 for E5, E6, O3, and O4. Real neighborhoods, real payments, and real trade-offs. So stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where to start your search. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Megan Luker, military wife, mom, and I've been helping families relocate to Virginia Beach and Hampton Roads for over 35 years. Here's the philosophy I live by. Real estate should be built on trust, transparency, and the full picture. That means I'm not going to show you the best case scenario numbers. I'm going to show you real ones, the gaps, the trade-offs, and the decisions that matter once the boxes are unpacked. Let's get into it. Hey, before we go rank by rank, I need to explain something that surprises almost every PCS family I work with. Your BAH is not a mortgage budget. It's a housing cost budget. That's a critical distinction because when you rent, one number covers everything. When you buy, your BAH has to stretch across 5 separate line items: mortgage principal and interest, property taxes, homeowners insurance, flood insurance, if applicable, and HOA dues if the neighborhood has one. In coastal market like Virginia Beach, where insurance has been climbing hard and the flood zone designations are a real factor, those extra line items can quietly eat $200 to $400 of your BAH before you've made a single mortgage payment. I've covered insurance in detail in a previous video. Go watch it after this one. The short version, budget for it early because it will surprise you if you don't. Here's the framework I use with every family before we look at a single listing. Take your BAH, subtract an estimated $300 to $400 per month for taxes, insurance, and HOA. What's left is your true mortgage ceiling. That number, not your BAH, is what determines your purchase price range. Now let's go rank by rank and see what that actually means on the street. An E5 with dependents receives $2,430 per month in BAH for the Virginia Beach market in 2026. Without dependents, that drops to $1,908. I'll work with dependents rates for today. After accounting for taxes, insurance, and a typical HOA, your effective mortgage budget is roughly $2,050 to $2,100 per month. At current VA loan rates around 6.5 to 7%, that gets you to a purchase price of approximately $310,000 to $345,000. Now here's what I want to show you, what's actually available right now in that range, because this is where a lot of families assume the market has nothing for them. It does. You just have to know which neighborhoods to look in. Princess Anne Plaza is showing up consistently in this price range right now. There are active listings between $330,000 to $350,000. 4-bedroom homes built in the early 1960s around 1,200 to 1,600 square feet. Not new construction, but solid established homes on a real lots. A military family staple in Virginia Beach for decades. Aragona Village is another neighborhood in this tier. Listings right now from $330,000 to $350,000. These are 3- and 4-bedroom homes from the late 1950s to the early 1960s. Established neighborhood, mature trees, and good bones. Green Run has homes in this range as well. An active listing at $345K, large established community in the central part of the city. Functional layouts, accessible to multiple bases. Here's the honest trade-off for the E5. You are buying a home that was built 50 to 65 years ago. Smaller square footage, 1,100 to 1,600 square feet, and you're probably not getting updated kitchens and baths at this price point without some of the work. But here's what you are getting: a real asset in a stable military market. Neighborhoods where military families have purchased, rented out, and sold for generations. The demand is consistent because the bases are consistent. And your VA loan is your biggest advantage. Zero down, no PMI. A conventional buyer at $340,000 would need $17K to $68K at that table. You bring zero. It's real and it's a significant edge. My advice to every E5 is to buy with the tenant in mind, because in 3 years, you're likely to PCS out. Princess Anne Plaza and Aragona Village are neighborhoods where a military family will always want to rent. That rental demand is your safety net. An E6 with dependents receives $2,559 per month in BAH in 2026. That's $129 more than the E5. Monthly, it doesn't sound transformative, but run it through a purchase calculation and it shifts your range to approximately $345,000 to $375,000. And with an extra $30,000 in purchase power, it opens up more inventory. Strawbridge shows up at exactly $360,000 right now, a 3-bedroom, 1920 square foot home built in 1987. Strawbridge sits close to NAS Oceana and Dam Neck. The layouts are functional and the homes here consistently attract military buyers and renters. This is a name brand military neighborhood at a E6 price point. Windsor Woods has a listing at $360,000 as well. 4 bedrooms, 1,666 square feet, built in 1967. Near town center, mature trees, and has real character. Salem Lakes is showing active listings around $360,000 right now. Further out, longer commute, but the trade-off is space and a calmer pace. Indian Lake starts appearing at $379,900 to $400K. 3 and 4 bedroom homes from the late 1970s and mid 1980s running 1,300 to 1,800 square feet. Family-oriented neighborhood in the Kempsville corridor. Here's the honest trade-off for the E6. At the lower end of the range, you're still in older vintage, smaller square footage. At the lower end of the range, you're still in older vintage, smaller square footage. At the upper end, Strawbridge is the standout. At $2,559 BAH, you may be out of pocket $100 to $200 per month on a home at the top of your range once you factor in the full cost of ownership. Know that number before you go under contract. It should be a planned gap, not a surprise. An O3 with dependents receives $2,694 per month in BAH in the 2026. That puts your purchase range at approximately $370K to $415,000. This is where the inventory in Virginia Beach starts to feel more like options and less like compromises. Ocean Lake starts appearing at this price point. Listings right now are at $399,900 and $415,000. Ocean Lakes is one of the most sought-after military family neighborhoods in Virginia Beach. Excellent schools, Ocean Lakes High School is right there. Proximity to NAS Oceana and strong community feel. Princess Anne Plaza upper tier is strong and this level at $395K to $410,000 with 4 bedroom homes running anywhere from $1,549 to $1,983 square feet. Red Wing shows up at $385K to $400K. 3 and 4 bedroom homes from the mid 1980s. Not a name most incoming families know, but local agents know it well. Consistently a good demand. Rosemont Forest has listings at $385K. 3 bedrooms, 1,551 square feet, built in 1986. Solid neighborhood in the Kempsville corridor. Great Neck Estates enters the picture at $419,900. Small house, 1,100 square feet, built in 1959. But Great Neck is a different conversation. You're paying for location and lot. Close to JEB Little Creek near the water. The land underneath it holds long-term value. Here's the honest trade-off for the O3. You can buy in a name brand military neighborhood at your BAH. Ocean Lakes at $399 to $415K is a legitimate 03 purchase, but you're likely looking at the smaller end of the inventory. 1,300 to 1,700 square feet, older vintage, some deferred maintenance. The 03 who thinks strategically looks at this tier and sees a 3-year play. Buy in Ocean Lakes or Red Wing, PCS out. Rent to the next military family. The demand never stops. The 04 with dependents receives $3,054 per month in BAH in 2026. $3,054. This is where the conversation changes. Your purchase range is approximately $430,000 to $490,000. And in this range, Virginia Beach starts to feel genuinely open. Ocean Lakes mid-tier is full in play. Active listings anywhere from $420,000 to $485,000. You might find a 3-bedroom, 1,700 square foot home built in 1995. At around $485,000, you might find a 4-bedroom, 2,000 square foot 1987 build. This is the heart of Ocean Lakes market for the 04 families. Kempsville Crossing at $459,000, 4 bedrooms, 2,000 square feet, built in 2004. Newer feel, open layout, better mechanical systems. For 04 families who want move-in ready without a renovation project. Glenwood has multiple active listings from $439,900 to $485,000. 3 and 4 bedroom homes from the late 1980s, 1,700 to 2,358 square feet, close to a major shopping, good school zoning. Then you have Windsor Woods, upper tier at $450,000 to $483,700. There are 4 bedroom homes with 1,800 to 1,850 square feet, mature neighborhood near town center. And then Woodstock enters at $460,000 to $464,900. 4 bedroom homes with 2,965 square feet at $460,000. One of the better square footage to price plays in this tier. Here's the honest trade-off for the 04. You now have enough BAH to buy a home that doesn't feel like a compromise. But insurance, taxes, and the HOA on a $470K home in Virginia Beach can still add $400 to $500 a month on top of your mortgage. Budget for $150 to $300 monthly, out-of-pocket gap. Plan for it. Don't discover it at the closing table. I want to spend a moment on something most people skip. Every rank has a gap in this market, including the 04. Your BAH was calculated to cover median rental costs. It was not calibrated for full coastal homeownership costs in 2026, with insurance premiums climbing, flood zone overlays, and the HOA fees ticking up across the city. The families who feel blindsided here aren't careless. They just weren't told. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Virginia Beach has averaged right around 4.5% home appreciation per year over the last 20 years. That is not a boom market number. That is not speculation. That is 20 years of steady, consistent military anchored demand producing reliable equity growth. Here's what that means in real numbers. An E6 who buys a $360,000 home in Strawbridge today and holds it just for 3 years is looking at a home worth approximately $400,000 to $407,000 at PCS time. That's $40,000 to $47,000 in appreciation alone before a single dollar of mortgage paydown. So for an 03 at $400,000 in Ocean Lakes, that's roughly $445,000 to $450,000 in 3 years. An 04 at $470 in Glenwood or Woodstock, that's approximately $522,000 to $528,000. Now put that next to the gap. If your out-of-pocket is $200 per month over 36 months, that's $7,200 total out of pocket, and your home has appreciated $40,000 to $50,000. The gap isn't a penalty. It's an investment premium with a return most civilian markets would envy. Last thing before the recap, because you're going to ask me, should I just rent at my rank? Here's my honest answer. It depends on 3 things. How long are your orders? Less than 18 months? Lean towards renting. The transaction costs of buying and selling won't let the equity catch up. Have you seen the city yet? If you've never been to Virginia Beach, renting for 6 months before buying is one of the smartest things you can do. The neighborhood you choose after living here is almost never the same one you would have chosen from a map. Does the full payment work without severe strain? If meeting the gap requires cutting your emergency fund or retirement contributions to zero, that stress has a cost. It's okay to rent. It's okay to wait. But if your orders are 36 months, you've done your research, and the gap is manageable, the math in Virginia Beach almost always favors buying. Here's why. When you rent, your BAH covers your landlord's mortgage. You build zero equity. You capture zero of that 4.5% annual appreciation. Every year you rent instead of own is a year you watch the growth happen for someone else's balance sheet instead of yours. When you buy, even without a small monthly gap, you are capturing that 4.5% on your own asset. You are building equity through paydown. You are creating an asset you can sell or rent when orders come, and you are doing it with a VA loan that required $0 down. There is no other investment vehicle available to a service member that lets you control $380,000 asset with zero down payment, while someone else, your future tenant, helps service the debt. That is the real math of buying in Virginia Beach. Let's bring this home. E5 with dependents, 2430 BAH. Your range is 310 to 345. You can go to Princess Anne Plaza, Aragona Village, Green Run. At 4.5% annual appreciation, 340K home today is worth roughly 380K in 3 years. E6 with dependents, 2559 BAH. Your range opens to 345K to 375. Strawbridge at 360 is your standout. 3 years of appreciation puts you at 400K to 407K. 03 with dependents, 2694 BAH. Your range is 370 to 415K. This is Ocean Lake's entry tier, Princess Anne Plaza, Red Wing, and Rosemont Forest. A $400,000 purchase today grows to approximately 445K to 450 in 3 years. 04 with dependents, 3054 BH. Your range reaches 430K to 490K. Ocean Lake's mid-tier, Kempsville Crossing, Glenwood, Windsor Woods, Woodstock. At 470K today, roughly 522,000 to 528 in 3 years. Every rank has a gap, every rank has a path, every rank needs to run the full numbers, mortgage, taxes, insurance, HOA before going under contract. And every rank buying in this market for 3 years or more has history on their side. That's the real BAH reality in Virginia Beach. If you want to sit down and run your specific numbers, your rank, your timeline, your base, look below and book a Zoom call with me. I'll walk you through exactly which neighborhoods fit your BAH right now, what the full cost of ownership actually looks like, and what your equity picture could look like when orders come again. 10 minutes, real numbers, no pressure. And if this video helped you understand what your BAH actually buys and builds in this market, subscribe. I post weekly breaking down Virginia Beach neighborhoods, PCS decisions, and everything military families need to know before they get here. Welcome home. This is Real Life Virginia Beach.